Welcome to the first segment of Prime Time with the Rankin County School District Counselors, navigating life's decisions one lesson at a time. Lacey, have you ever overreacted about something?
Absolutely. You know, the older I get, the better I am about taking a minute to think through my decisions before I react and regret my actions.
I think everyone has. My name is Angela Arrington, and I'm a counselor at Florence Middle School.
And I'm Lacey Varner. I'm a counselor at Brandon Middle School.
Today, we're going to talk to you about self-awareness and the importance of being self-aware in everyday activities and things that you do so that you can be successful in school and in life, outside of school, in school, in all areas.
That's right, and this allows us to handle stress, control our impulses, and it motivates us to persevere in overcoming obstacles.
Okay, so today we're going to look at a PowerPoint that is put together to help you better understand what self-awareness is and activities just to work through and to get you really to start thinking about if you have self-awareness, how self-aware you actually are. So before we get going, we're going to pause for just a quick second and let you run and get a piece of paper and a pencil because you will need that in the activity that we do. Give them a second. Okay, now that you're back with your paper and pencil, I want you to think for just a second what self-awareness means to you. You can write it down or you can just think about it. So once we get through the activity that we're going to do in the PowerPoint, you can go back and look at it and see if that definition has changed some. Okay, we're going to go to the PowerPoint. The first slide is just the definition of what self-awareness is. So this is a descriptive definition that self-awareness is one's ability to identify and understand their feelings, thoughts, and behaviors so you can monitor yourself better and create a more purposeful life. So pretty much just you being aware of your feelings, actions, and your behaviors is what self-awareness is.
Absolutely, and the benefits of being more self-aware, they're limitless. It just gives you a better understanding of your wants and your needs. It strengthens your relationships, leads to healthier reactions, improves your decision making, which is very important in life, helps you manage your emotions, and enhances your ability to make positive change. And it bolsters your self-esteem.
Okay, so on the PowerPoint, there is a poster that Lacey just kind of went over. And at the end, we're going to give you the website, too, that you can go and make sure that you can see all of this, too. We are going to take a quiz now, just so we can get a better understanding of ourselves and what we want to master as far as being self-aware and how we can better improve ourselves. So on your paper, I want you to start with numbering, just with the number 1, and you are going to answer with A, B, or C. So make sure you don't have to put the full answer on there. Just do the A, B, or C, and then at the end we're going to talk about how you score based on your answer choice. And remember that there's no right or wrong answer, so you can choose whatever best suits you.
Okay, are we ready, Angela?
Ready.
All right. Number 1, can you name the behaviors that you are doing at all times? A, yes, I'm always intentional with my behaviors and can name what I'm taking part in at all times. B, sometimes I usually am aware of what I'm doing, although at times I get caught up in something or I don't realize what I'm doing. Or C, no, I'm rarely aware of what my body or mind is doing. Now, it may seem obvious, but it can be challenging to recognize our own behaviors. You know, every day we have to make over 2,000 decisions. Because this number is so high, our brain usually takes over and it just reacts without us even thinking about it. And all of these unconscious decisions can decrease our self-awareness.
Okay, so y'all make sure you put A, B, or C beside number 1. Don't think too hard on it. Just do what your first answer that pops into your mind.
That's right.
Okay, number 2, can you name the emotions that you are feeling at all times? A, yes, I can always identify and name the emotion I'm feeling at any given moment. B, sometimes I'm usually aware of what emotion I'm feeling. However, it takes me a few moments to recognize it, and strong emotions sometimes catch me off guard. C, no, I rarely think about what emotion I'm feeling. I just feel something and act accordingly. Okay, so make sure you do A, B, or C. And being able to recognize your emotions is very, very important. That's like the foundation of being self-aware, so that you know exactly what you're dealing with. Common emotions that we think of are being mad, happy, being sad, and we're going to talk about some other emotions that you may not think about that could lead your self-awareness and just how you're handling things. So just think about, these questions are kind of going to build on themselves too throughout. So just know that the more self-aware you are, the better you can handle all of those different emotions that you will experience all day long. You'll change emotions all day. You can go from happy in a day to mad in a day, sad in a day, and that's normal. Just we got to work on how we handle those and how we react to those emotions.
That's right. Okay, you guys, get ready for number 3. Can you identify what causes a shift to negative emotions? A, yes, I can always identify what causes me to shift to negative emotions, whether it be an event, person, or reoccurring trigger. B, sometimes I can usually identify what caused a shift in emotions, although it takes a little while for me to catch on. Or C, I rarely know what specifically causes me to shift to negative emotions. All of a sudden, I'm no longer happy, and I don't know why. All right, take a minute and choose an answer. And I know it's hard to believe, but we don't just switch to negative emotions for no apparent reason. There's usually something that causes us to shift, and the problem is we don't always know what that something is. Sometimes it's just hard enough to name the emotion that we're feeling, much less figure out where it's coming from. But after taking this test, hopefully we can recognize and understand those shifts in emotions better.
Okay. Number 4, can you name the emotional patterns you experience the most? Yes, I can list my standard emotional patterns right now, including what they are, what causes them, and what effect they have on my life. B, somewhat, I generally know what I have a tendency to do, but it's not always consistent or recognizable. C, no, I have no idea what emotional patterns I repeat. I have emotions, but I can't name any trends with when or why they happen. Okay, so if you think just identifying your emotions could be difficult, trying to identify your emotional patterns is way more difficult. Just a benefit of being able to know the patterns of your emotions is that when you know that a negative pattern is coming up, you can stop and pause and think about what you can do to change that negative outcome or that negative emotion, or handling that negative emotion. Not necessarily to change that emotion, but just how you're going to be able to handle it and be able to learn to manage your emotions better.
All right, number 5. Can you name your deepest fear triggers? A, yes, I'm self-aware of my deepest fears and what triggers these fears in my everyday life. I understand how pervasive these fears are in my thoughts and actions. B, somewhat, I can tell you what I'm most scared of, but I don't fully know how it affects my daily actions. Or C, no, I have no idea what a fear trigger even is, or if I have one. One of the strongest human motivators in life is fear. You know, way back when fear drove people to survive, and even in today's age, I don't know about you, Angela, but fear is a strong emotion, and it could cause us to, I guess, react quickly without thinking things through. So by increasing your self-awareness of your fears, It can help you manage yourself better and, you know, stay positive and understanding those things.
Yeah, you're right, especially with everything going on in our schools and not knowing what's, you know, coming next, just with all of the virus and stuff. Definitely with the fears is a big emotion.
Absolutely.
Number 6, can you name your deepest shame triggers? A, yes, I know the things that give me the most shame and what triggers this shame in my everyday life. I understand how pervasive this shame is in my thoughts and actions. B, somewhat, I can tell you what I'm most ashamed of, but I don't fully know how it affects my life and daily actions. Or C, no, I have no idea what a shame trigger even is, or if I have one. Okay, and just like fear, shame is an emotion that you may not really consider an emotion when you have to think about it being an emotion. Being able to understand what causes shame in your life and things that you want to work on, and that definitely will help you handle self-awareness a lot better, and find out what triggers, just to find out what triggers your shame. So, and I know we're saying triggers and different emotions, so, and it's important, just like I said earlier, when you feel that emotion coming up, that you just pause and you think about, okay, what just happened, so that I know where this emotion's coming from.
That's right. Okay, we're on number 7. Can you name the principles and values you believe in the most? A, yes, I can list my guiding principles and core values right now. I know how to distinguish between what I care about and the outside influence of others. B, somewhat. I can name a few principles and qualities that are most important to me, but I haven't given this list a whole lot of thought. Or C, I have no idea what values I personally believe in the most. And self-awareness extends beyond identifying our emotions. It's important, and I tell students at school, I'm sure you do too, all the time, know what you believe in and know what you stand for, and identify your values, even if it takes you, you know, sitting down and writing a list of them and what you know is right and what you believe is right and wrong for you. And that way, sometimes just putting those down on paper and understanding them will help you in situations in life for a long, long time. And it just helps you, again, to become more self-aware of those things, so you can plan ahead and you know what you believe in, and you can stand firm in that when you are faced in difficult situations.
You're right, Lacey, for sure. Okay, we're on number 8. How much do you consider these principles when making decisions? Talking about the principles Lacey was just talking to you about. A lot. Not only do I know what these principles are, but I design my life and decision making around them. They give clarity to my decisions. B, somewhat. I know what my principles are, but don't really know when they come into effect in my life. Or C, not at all. I live my life without ever giving a thought to any principles. Okay, so the first step is, like Lacey just shared with you, is identifying what those principles are. And once you identify your principles in life, then you'll be able to understand your decision making and make it orient around those different principles and goals and stuff. So it's very important that you know your goals, you know what principles you want in your life, so that you can plan different activities and your behaviors and such around those in order to help increase your self-awareness.
Absolutely. Okay, number 9. Can you name the passions that you have and lose track of time while doing? A, yes, I know what I'm passionate about and why they give me joy. B, somewhat. I can list things that I enjoy doing, although I wouldn't necessarily call them passions. Or C, I don't have any clear passions. You know, a lot of us have a false idea of what passion and purpose should look like. But passions are things that you enjoy doing. You know, what's a passion of yours?
Oh gosh, I love to go shopping. I love to spend time with family. I love to, there's a lot of things that I want to do, but a passion I think I really have that's described as a good passion is helping others, which is what led one of my goals was to get in counseling so I could help others.
Right.
But I think of hobbies and then I think of passions. But I think a passion is more, what do you want to do with your life? Like, what do you want people to remember you by, maybe?
Almost like your purpose that you
Yeah.
want and how you want to get there. That's right. So passions, being aware of your passions can help you, live a happier life. And just knowing, don't you think, when you know what brings you joy in life, and if you can take advantage of that and do that, no matter what it may be, it could be art, it could be sports, it could be reading or writing, anything. If you know how to do that and use that in your life, it could lead to a happier you.
Right. Number 10 is building on what Lacey and I have been talking about with the previous questions, but number 10 is, can you state a list of goals and ambitions you have for yourself? And an ambition is like a determination, something that you are determined to accomplish. A, yes, I can state a list of goals right now that include both short-term and long-term goals. I understand what I want out of life and can express these ambitions. B, somewhat, I have a few goals and ambitions, although they might not be the most defined. Or C, no, I don't really have any driving goals or ambitions in my life. Okay, and just like Lacey said, it is so important for you to develop goals and to know what those goals and ambitions are, so that you can learn how to be self-aware when it comes to achieving goals and ambitions. So very, very important that you list those goals. So we encourage you, when we do finish this lesson, that you just keep that piece of paper and write on there some goals that you have for yourself. You may have some, you may have thought about this and already have them, you may not. So just think about that. Take some time when we finish just to think about some goals, because you can't really be super self-aware unless you have them listed. So go ahead and just write them down and look at them. And those may change and they may not change. But just do that so that you'll have something to look at and to aim towards.
Okay. Number 11, can you describe the environment you thrive in the most? A, yes, I can describe the ideal environment that I need to be happy and be successful, including the pace, energy, and structure that I thrive in. B, somewhat. I know certain things that I would want, but I can't fully describe the exact environment that I thrive in. Or C, no, I do not know what environment works best for me. I just try to make it work wherever I am. I know sometimes I fall in that C category.
Right.
But a lot of times we're talking about self-awareness and we're talking about looking inward to our emotions and identifying them, but it's just as important to look outward, and knowing and understanding the environment that you thrive in the most can really help you be more successful. And I think it's just a really important thing that can set you up to be more successful.
Mm-hmm. Number 12, can you identify a list of personal strengths and how they manifest themselves in your life? Okay, manifest is just shows. How do they show in your life? A, yes, I can list all my strengths right now, as well as where they fit into my life and how I use them to find success. B, somewhat, I mostly know what I'm good at, although I couldn't tell you exactly how I incorporate these strengths into my life. Or C, no, I don't know what my strengths are, I just try to do my best. Okay, there is a reason that there are so many strength finding tests out there. There's so many. If you just try to look and find your strengths, you can find so many assessments. It's because it's so important to know what you're good at. And Lacey covered this earlier. Just knowing some of your strengths, whether it's art, dancing, whatever, will definitely help in you to be able to be more self-aware and to know what you're good at and where you can help people. And it can also help you to discover your goals and to create your goals. So just remember that your strengths will definitely help build your goals.
Okay, number 13. Can you identify a list of shortcomings and how they manifest themselves in your life? A, yes, I can list all my shortcomings right now, as well as how they affect my life and what I need to do to overcome them. B, somewhat. I mostly know what my weaknesses are, although I don't have an exact list. I try to avoid them, but I don't really know how they hold me back. Or C, I don't know what my shortcomings are. You know, as fun as it is to discover our strengths, like you were talking about, it's still very important to know our weaknesses. And the older I've gotten, and you know, through going to school, through school and college and projects and just everyday life, it's important to know your weaknesses, because when you know your weaknesses, you can, depending on what you're doing, you could team up with people who your weaknesses are their strengths, and you guys could work together, or anything, depending on the situation. But it's very, very important to know your weaknesses, and I think knowing your weaknesses is a strength.
That's right. Okay, number 14. Can you describe your typical reaction to new information, whether it be positive or negative? A, yes, I can tell you right now how I usually react to new information. I understand my natural tendencies with both what emotions I feel and what impulses I have. B, somewhat, I can generally describe how I react to positive and negative news, but I'm not fully aware of my emotions and thoughts. C, no, I just react in the moment and don't know of any patterns. Okay, so we don't really think about, because any new news is, we don't know how we're going to react, because it just depends on the news. So it's very important for you just to kind of pay attention to how you react. So if they're positive, you can keep it going and create that pattern, or if they're negative, you can learn ways and work on ways to change that.
All right. Number 15, can you name what you need in your relationships to feel fulfilled? A, yes, I can name exactly what I need in my life, in my relationships, to create a sense of belonging and feel fulfilled. Additionally, I'm able to express these needs. B, somewhat, I know what I need from others, although I might not know specifically what I need from each person or in different situations. C, no, I don't know what I need from my relationships to feel fulfilled. We often think of relationships in terms of two people, but you know, that's a narrow perspective, and we just need to be more self-aware of building relationships in your life, whether it be with somebody that you just see every once in a while, or whether it be with your best friend.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and we're going to stop here, but if you want to go online, in just a second we're going to show you the link to go online, and you can go on there, and this same quiz, it's a free quiz. There's a few more questions on there that we didn't get to, but you can enter your answers. That's why we had you write them down, and it will calculate your results for you. If you don't have internet access, go through, and for every A that you gave yourself, that is 2 points. For every B is 1 point, and every C is 0 points. So there were 15 questions, so the most you could get was 30. So the higher your score, the closer you are to 30, the more self-aware you are. So just do that if you have a chance, and to check out her other resources.
Okay. Well, you know, you guys have worked so hard today, and we've really enjoyed doing this lesson, and I hope you can take something away from it. And we just want you to know that you're important, and you are loved, and you are needed in this world. All rights and credits for today's lessons come from myquestionlife.com. And be sure to tune in for our next episode on time management.
Thank you.